Hello? Hello, my little sprouts! Oh gosh. I can't believe I got this to work. And I can't believe I'm doing this. I just wanted to take this time to thank everyone for 1,000 subscribers. So I put together a little Q&A to celebrate. I know it's been pretty late. I'm Kingsley, by the way, and I know how it's spelled, but you know, whatever. I don't have to explain myself. Okay, so let's get started. Okie dokie. So I put this together in 2 parts. One is like general questions, and then the other one is really in depth on how to do like English translated covers. So if you want to skip to that part, I will make a timestamp. Okie dokie. Let's get started. Oh my god. Okay, so what do you use to record and mix music? This is like kind of like the classic question everybody asks. Let me move myself out of the way here. Oh, my sprout! So to record, I use a Audio-Technica. I use a really old version of FL Studio for all of the mixing, and this microphone needs an audio interface, so I use the M Audio Air for that. These are kind of like, I would say, low-mid quality items, and they're definitely not cheap, but if you want to give yourself a little upgrade, why not? You're worth it. If not, if you're just starting out, then I would recommend like something a little bit more inexpensive, like a USB microphone, like the Blue Yeti is really good. Or honestly, the USB version of the Audio-Technica is also pretty good. Okay, so are you okay with other people using your trans lyrics in their own song covers? And I tried to credit people specifically when I could find out where I got the question from. So those are gonna be down there. But the answer to that, what? Yes! Like, do whatever you want. Take bits and parts, change things up. You know, I think, you know, I know that sometimes people are a little particular on how they translated things and they don't like people switching things up, but I don't care at all. Just try to credit me a little bit, please, in the description. But that's how music's made. Music's foundation, like, we build off of each other, and that's how cool things happen. So take what you like, change what you want. If you think things don't fit, then they don't fit for you. I'm completely supportive of you making covers. When did you start your interest in singing? How did you come to like singing? I guess the honest answer is just I don't really know, but I think everybody loves singing a little bit when they're little, so I sang all the time, but I wasn't very good at it. I'm still not super good at it, and I like singing karaoke and stuff, but you know, it's just something that you like and you enjoy, so you should do the things that you like and you enjoy. And then eventually, honestly, I haven't even taken a lot of singing lessons. I did for a little bit, maybe half a year or a year. Yeah, something like that. What was the first ever song cover you posted online? Well, I have a lot of song things that I posted online, like on Facebook privately, so I'm not gonna count those. The first one I posted on YouTube was a very poorly produced cover of La Vie en Rose, and I also used this to, oh my god, I also used this to audition for literally, you know, those K-pop auditions where they like, those agencies come and they corral all of you into a room together and you just need to sing your little heart out, and then you have like your 15 seconds. That's the song I picked, and but yeah, I didn't even know Korean. I didn't even know a lot about K-pop culture at the time. I don't know, it was kind of like an impulse thing, but that was what happened. Oh gosh, okay, what is your favorite Milgram cover that you've ever done? Favorite song? Milgram cover that I've ever done? Probably maybe Undercover. Or actually, no, you know what the answer is? I really like Go Down, the thread connecting you with me. I really like Throwdown because that was one of the first songs. It wasn't the first cover I posted, but it was the first one I started translating and really wanting to do that. But I think Undercover is a close second because it's like the accumulation of all of those covers put together. Favorite song you've ever covered? I don't know. I'd have to say, like, I think it just changes over time. Or like whatever the most recent cover I put out, that's the favorite song that my favorite song at the time. And I'll listen to it like a billion times, especially when I'm mixing it. Or it's the opposite, where my most recent song, I've listened to it too much because then I've been mixing it like crazy for like a straight up week and then I don't want to listen to it anymore. Favorite song I've covered? It would have to be... I don't know. I think all of them are have their own little like kick to it. I can't think of favorite. Do you have any covers or work that you consider to be your magnum opus or most important to you? I guess that would kind of be like a favorite cover, but I would say either my original songs.
Never stood a chance, despite the way I stand. Feet on solid ground until he came around.
Just because, you know, it's something so specific to me. So even if it's not resonating with other people, it will always be something that resonates with me. And the others would be, you know what this is? I always pick like, wow, I really want to do this song, but I know I'm not there yet in terms of skill or mixing or something like that. So I put that as like a challenge long-term goal piece. And the last one I did, and the singing's not even that good in it. The last one I did was The Night of Ulaanbaatar. It's like a Chinese power ballad karaoke. The yearning is so strong, but I thought like, you know, it's a beautiful song. I like how great it does like the sad unrequited love, and I knew the range was too crazy for me. And I knew it was so difficult, and I don't speak Chinese very well, but I was moving out and I wanted to really take advantage of the house being empty. So I just decided to go for it. I think the fact that you put yourself out there and challenge yourself and try, and then when you tackle that song like a year later, it feels really good, even if you don't do it perfect. It doesn't matter. And then you can see how far you've come. That's really special. So even though the vocals are definitely really imperfect in that one, it's probably one of my favorites, and it's something I look back on really, really fondly. I already have another goalpost song in mind, but I think that one's really far away. What is your favorite / least favorite of the process of recording English covers? So, I would say for that one, it takes so much time for me to not even be satisfied with the output. It's kind of like I get to a point where I'm like, good enough. you know, because I'm just tired of hearing my own voice. So then I spend like so much time translating the lyrics, and then I spend a ridiculous amount of time like editing and, you know, tuning and timing, that like I spend probably the least amount of time singing. So my favorite part is singing. My least favorite part is doing the mixing, because then I just kind of get sick of my own voice. And sometimes I get sick of the song too. But it is important to take your time with these things. If you're not happy with how it's sounding, you know, you don't have to settle. I always think, like, would a regular person in native English say this line? And if they won't, because you're trying to squeeze things in their weird places, then it's worth taking the time to change it up. So, for example, this is what I worked on for Undercover. Oh, well, the first thing I do, I make a table with the English and the Japanese side by side, so it can help me break down the syllables and stuff. And then if I'm struggling with finding a line that I like, I will write variations of the exact same line over and over again until I hit the right one. It's good to take your time and find what really works for you and what you're happy with. Don't feel the need to rush yourself for an upload, and, you know, put out a product that you know you did your best on. That you know that you did your best. Who is your favorite / least favorite Milgram character? Okay, well, I did get a lot of Milgram questions, and I was thinking maybe I should do its own video for it. Like, who did you vote for? What do you think about the trials? What do you think about their songs? So I was thinking I would hold on to that, but I can do favorite and least favorite. But I don't want people to get mad at me either. So I'm just gonna put 2 pictures on the next slide, and then everybody can guess who my favorite is and who my least favorite is. He's so beautiful. Anyways, kind of an interesting question was, how do you get into character vocally? And I don't know if I do that very much or at all. I know, like, this isn't a self put down. Like, I don't know. Okay. I definitely put in like a conscious effort to try to like make myself sound a little different, especially when it's doing like character songs like Milgram. But I don't know if it really comes through in the recordings, despite how much I try. If I could give some amateur tips, because I am an amateur, I would say that your voice is very diverse and has a lot of range. And there's a lot of things you can play with in terms of making it sound different. For one, there's like your pitch, like I can speak in my lower register, I can speak in my high register. The timbre is kind of like the sound quality of your voice. I would say, like, if you're putting in like kind of a breathy sound, or if you're doing like my nasally little kid sound, or futa is really gruff, so then you can like kind of dig down deep into the roughness of your own voice. I don't know if I want to do that right now, like, you know, get those growls in. I'm not very good at them, but they're there sometimes. I know my low register isn't super low. You can do like your dark low register. You don't put a lot of air in, let a lot of vocal fry come through. Whatever, you know. Yeah, I know it's not super different when I do it, but I'm saying that it's possible. I would say the easiest thing to start off with is with your energy. For example, when I'm doing Milgram and I have like really high energy characters like Mihiru, Amane, then it's really easy to just like, if you amp yourself up before recording and you're like having fun, bouncing in the chair, if you genuinely smile while you're recording, it really does make a difference in terms of how you sound. And Then for like guy characters like Kazui, then you drop down into your low register. He's really cool, laid back, and it's okay to also pull your energy back for that too. Yeah, I guess that's what I do. If it helps, you can also like, if you need to get sad for a song, just make yourself genuinely sad. Like watch a sad video or something like that. I used to watch, do you remember like Bao, the Pixar short where like the mom feels like she's losing her kid, and she like cooks him this beautiful meal, and then he doesn't even sit down to eat it. Yeah, that always made me cry. So I would use that for like doing BAing and stuff. Okay, so now this is about the song translating process. So that's a little bit more like, you know, nitty-gritty technical stuff, but luckily I am prepared. Let's pop these. Oh wait, it's super far from my face. Whatever. Let Kingsley teach you. Let Kingsley say some stuff about song trend. I would say step 1, just pick really important must-have words right away, and then just work around them. Make it work. If you want that line in there, you can get that line in there. For example, I'm going to be using mostly Milgram examples, like breakup ritual in This Is How to Be in Love with You. I thought that was really important to Mihiru. Same thing with sorry spells in After Pain. So you think about breakup ritual, how can I make a rhyme with ritual after that? It works because you pick what's important and then write around that. It helps give you a lot of structure in terms of like, where do I even begin? Okay, so next we're gonna talk about rhymes. And forgive me if it's like a little bit too basic for you, but I thought we should all start on the same page maybe. So first thing to know is that there's a lot of different types of rhymes, and there's like the pure true rhyme, which is like identical sounds. You know, you'll know it's a rhyme the second you hear it. But sometimes, because these word combinations are so common, it can come off as a little bit cliche if you use them too much. So like, when are you gonna hear a song that doesn't have the word fire matched up with desire, or like take me higher? Those are your pure true rhymes. Next we'll have your slant rhymes. And so these are sounds that are kind of similar but not identical, but it's also, you know, kind of interesting. And a good example for that was from Undercover, because I had to slant rhyme a lot for that. So ego versus tightrope. Oh, I doubled that. Oh, whatever. Oh my god, another typo slipped into my video again. It's fine. Tightrope. They both have an O sound going on, but tightrope has the P at the end of it. So that makes it not a true rhyme anymore, but rather a slant rhyme. But it still works in the song. One thing that you'll find is that our ears are very, very forgiving in terms of rhymes. So I think it pays to think a little bit about what rhyme type you're using and how to get more creative with it. Because there's just so many different types. There's also internal rhymes. If you're having trouble finding rhymes for the end of 2 lines, just put the rhyme in the middle of the line.
But if hiding this in every kiss is called unhappiness, then
in half, that if hiding this in every kiss is called unhappiness, that's like triple rhyme there, baby. Even if you didn't have the is called unhappiness, it would still sound like a song rhyming scheme because you have the internal rhyme helping support the last word. Another good cheat technique if you're having trouble finding the rhymes is feminine rhymes. These are like when you're not really rhyming the last word, but you're rhyming the second last word. So a really good example of this is Bad Guy by Billie Eilish. Guy is the same in all of the lines. I'm sorry if I'm blocking it. Guy is the same in all of the lines. What they're rhyming is tough guy, rough guy, just can't get enough guy. And that can really save you in a pinch, to be honest. And it sounds good. So next, I kind of wanted to talk about rhyme schemes because, first of all, don't let me tell you what to do, what's right and what's not right. This is just my opinion. But I think sometimes when I listen to English covers, they rhyme a little bit too much, if that makes sense. So if you look at something like this, the A scheme, each A means the end of a line, and because they're all matching, that means they're using the same rhyme. And I mean, you can, but it's like using the exact same rhyme for all of the lines sometimes can come off as like a little bit bland to me personally. More common things would be like ABAB or AABB, you know, you're rhyming the first two lines, you're rhyming the last two lines, or you're switching back and forth between lines. But don't feel trapped either to stick to something common, because our ears are really forgiving in terms of what we hear as a rhyme. So you can do like no rhyming at all in between lines and then only rhyming every second line. And then sometimes you could go through an entire verses and just call back to the very last word in that line, and your mind will remember that.
No one needs me at all. Someone help me at all. And if you
Having reoccurring words throughout the song really helps make it like more cohesive. There we go. So to summarize a little bit, these are some resources that I use. So if you want to find those pure true rhymes, then use a rhyming dictionary. There's no shame in that. Don't listen to what other people tell you. If you need a rhyme, use a rhyming dictionary. It's fine. RhymeZone.com, I'll put all these links in the description. RhymeZone.com is really, really good for true rhymes. This is RhymeZone. It's very, very good for finding the exact, like really clean, true rhymes. And it like highlights things that are more common to use. And then it will also give you some examples of poems, songs that will rhyme the same word. For Slant Rhymes, they are going to be your best friend, especially when you're doing English translating covers, because you need to get really creative to make the lines work still. So that's when you would go to something like B Rhymes. It's definitely giving you the slant rhymes. It's telling you how they're a little bit similar. So like soap, hope, I can still hear that rhyme, but they're not exactly like spot on rhymes. And I think another big point is if you can't find a word that rhymes, then you can always find an alternate word. So like a synonym, something with the same meaning. And Wordhippo.com is super good for that too, because it understands a lot of like slang, common idioms, common phrases, and it's like a little more liberal than like a strict thesaurus. Another way to say sing, maybe? And then boom, so many alternate ways to say sing, so many alternate rhymes. Another point I wanted to hit on was other languages have different rhyming schemes from English, so a lot of people will try to match their rhyme scheme to, for example, I do Japanese songs a lot, and people will try to match the rhyme scheme from Japanese into English, but that's not always what our English ears will hear where the rhyme should go. So it's better to listen to the song yourself and think, oh, the rhyme should go right here, instead of trying to analyze the lyrics and see, oh, he rhymed here, so I need to rhyme there. And again, you don't need to rhyme all the time, okay? So let's talk about syllables next. That's really important when you want everything to fit correctly into the melody of the song. But I think what happens a lot in English covers is that people count the number of syllables, but they don't really think about where's the stress happening and where's the emphasis happening on each of the words. So a good example for that would be like, I counted the syllables in a line. It says that I need a word with 2 syllables, and wonder and surprise both have 2 syllables, but wonder is stressed on the first syllable, and surprise is stressed on the second syllable. So even though both of these words can fit in the slot, that doesn't mean that they'll both sound the same in that slot. And it's something we need to think about, because if you don't pay attention to details like that, then translations can kind of turn clunky. The next point I would have to say is that for important words, you want them to fall on your long syllables. In weakness is a good example.
Do I even exist? Will somebody notice me now?
They spend such a long time on the word exist and notice in that chorus that you don't want to put like a small word, connecting word like and, the. It doesn't make sense to me, and it's more important to get the really important words like Haruka struggles with his identity and who he is and people noticing him, so I wanted to make sure that those were the 2 words that landed in that spot, if that makes sense. Okie dokie. So finally, for getting like some really cool, interesting lines, really think about wordplay, common phrases, idioms, because you're basically changing this song to make it work for local speakers. So why not actually use the language as locals use it? So let's think about like one, you picked an important word that you know for sure you want to stick with, but you don't have no idea what to do with it. A really good way to get started is that you would go to like an idiom dictionary, like what I've linked here from the free dictionary, and look up that word. And then you can also start mixing and matching with that in terms of like making puns, doing wordplay. An example of that I was like, oh, I'm so smart, but not really, is in Bring It On.
Deny all you want, but we got the receipts. You've done all your sowing, it's time that you read and you reap. You can't.
Deny all you want, but we got the receipts. You know, someone who isn't native to English, I don't think would really know that we use receipts in the way that we do for like evidence on gossip. And then I kind of changed the saying read it and weep to like read it like you're reading the receipts, and also like reap what you sow. There's a lot going on in there, but I think when you start like using slang, phrases, idioms to that capacity, it's so much more fun making the translations. If I had to drive home anything, it would be that when you're making English translated lyrics, you should really strive to be adapting the song instead of strictly translating it. In my opinion. So, because if I wanted to see a translation of the song, I can just look that up. I want to hear a song that I'll enjoy actually singing along to, but still captures most of the original meaning. And by that, I mean you should be really generous with yourself and don't try to stick line by line in terms of the translation. If you wanted a straight translation, you could just put those lyrics into Google Translate and then read the meaning of the song like that. I find, for example, in Japanese, they use so many more syllables than we would use to convey the same meaning, which means I have to usually put in a little bit of extra information to fill in all of that gap. But because I take the time to kind of like read about the character, like get to know them, then I understand them well enough that the new lines I've written will fit in and make sense with the whole theme altogether. So for me, and especially for songs like Milgram, where there are character songs and there's story to go behind it, what is most important is to understand the characters, their motivations, you know, the story they're trying to tell, And then it becomes so much more okay to stray from the direct translations and going line by line. Because as long as you feel that you're like keeping in touch with the song and the intention, then it will feel right in the song even if you make deviations. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I think that wraps things up. Well, I think that wraps things up for me. I hope I can edit this down to something usable. But thank you so much again for 1,000 subscribers. Very cool. And I hope this helped you a little bit. And I hope you learned a little bit about me, but also about how I go about making these English translated covers. Bye bye!